Chapter 8.
The world lay wide open, akin to an expansive book, with ink bleeding through its pages in shades of black and blue on a backdrop of white and yellow. He felt the disintegration within himself, sensed a quill splitting as Sectum Sempra poured out onto the bathroom tiles. A basilisk's fang pierced his arm, a dark heart throbbed within his grasp. He extracted the venom from his system and summoned fiendfire. Gradually, he fragmented. Harry James Potter, who lived at number 4 Privet Drive, where he was considered utterly normal, or so he was often told. Freak was the harsh word from the pig, the whale, the giraffe. You can stay with me, offered the dog, but death soon laid claim to him. You're as sane as I am, said the moon, offering him a cork to fend off the unwelcome rackspurts. She passed on a recipe wrapped in a lullaby. Just because it's in your mind, master, doesn't mean it lacks reality, intoned Death, draping Harry with a cloak spun from water threads. Observe him, he's lost all expression. It would be a mercy, murmured the lion with a family fractured by their love for him. He's not dense, just give him a shot, interjected the swan. You're welcome to spend the night at my place if you'd like. Though his name had slipped from his memory, he retained the echo of being led to a vale ceaselessly whispering Harry, Harry, Harry. Never could he forget the sensation of magic flowing through him, leaving him as porous as Swiss cheese. It was bizarre how swiftly it seemed ordinary, living with someone who tied themselves to their property, never venturing beyond its bounds. He wandered about, muttering to himself, waving his wand aimlessly. This too became part of the norm. Alice turned grocery shopping without a checklist into a playful challenge. Together, they slipped into a life of a different kind. Esme now accompanied Harry to work each day. Within a week, he began tidying around the house once more. Bella didn't understand the wave of relief that washed over her every time she returned home to laundry that had been nicely ironed. On one occasion in particular, she had gone to express her gratitude with a hug, and Harry, almost making eye contact, returned her smile. Schoolwork intensified, and Mr. Varner's unreasonable demeanor worsened. One day, while seated at the kitchen table, Edward patiently explained a problem for the umpteenth time. Harry shuffled in, standing silently, studying the material. She left the book out in the open for him. By breakfast the next morning, Harry, strangely manipulating numbers devoid of physical reality, barely raised an eyebrow. Your educational institution seems rather constrained, Harry remarked, putting a teaspoon of salt in his coffee. Bella chuckled, supplying him with sugar and a clean cup. Are you entirely sure about this plan, Bella? Charlie had great love for his daughter. He was well aware of her disinterest in baseball. His fears rose at the idea of her mood souring if she happened to injure herself with the bat. No, I'll just observe. Consider it an homage to American culture, she replied, tugging on her thick coat. Her cap askew, Charlie fixed it, tucking an errant strand of hair behind her ear. Be careful, sweetheart. I'm always careful, she responded confidently, then made her departure. And that's precisely why I worry, he muttered to the fading taillights. At least the old truck was finding some use, he thought consolingly. Tonight, the couch would be his and Harry's haven, one where he could freely kiss Harry without the concern of his daughter walking in. Their movie marathon was of little interest to Charlie. His attention was mostly elsewhere when Harry suddenly sat up. What's on your mind, dear? Harry shook his head, immediately getting up. His hand nestled into his hoodie pocket, an instinct when troubled. A storm's brewing, came his cryptic utterance. His speech had increased lately, though it remained cryptic and enigmatic. Charlie remained vigilant for any signs of thunder. You're anxious over your trees, right? Shortly after, the sound of car doors echoed, and Bella burst through the entrance. I refuse to stay put here, she pleaded. Let me leave. Charlie's chest constricted, the words resonating harshly as they had for 15 years. With steady hands, Harry gripped Bella's shoulders, halting her motion. "Do not deceive us," he reprimanded softly. "Charlie deserves honesty." Witnessing Bella's unraveling was akin to observing a piece of glass shatter. Charlie wished to comfort her, but his legs quaked beneath the weight of the moment. Though he couldn't recall when he'd sat, the piercing sound of Bella's tears would linger forever. Her yellow raincoat dripped monotonously onto the linoleum floor. "You'll remain here with your father, where your true place is," Harry declared once her weeping subsided. "Edward, step inside now. Please get Alice to call me." Charlie pondered over Harry's clarity, yearning for lucidity rather than fear-driven action. They observed Harry put on Bella's rain slicker along with her cap. "Apologies," he murmured, accidentally catching some strands of her hair in the clasp. Barefoot, Harry stepped out, traversing the house in a tight circle. "Protego totalum, salvio Hestia," he whispered, followed by cave inimicum. Illuminated eyes met Charlie's unwavering gaze. "Do not depart until Edward confirms safety," he instructed softly, holding Charlie's face with warm hands. He placed a tender kiss upon Bella's head, and one on Edward's as well. "I'll return promptly," Harry assured them before vanishing into the night. The home had never felt so confining. She couldn't fathom Harry's ability to stay within these four walls for a whole month when 2 mere days drove her mad. Bella drifted from room to room, feeling Edward's watchful eyes. "I love you," he whispered, and Bella returned his sentiment, though the depths of her helplessness remained unshaken. The experience was reminiscent of that locker room incident, much like the time she witnessed Harry's alarmed episode in the kitchen. Bella recalled her mother Renee enthusiastically revealing newfound love, leaving Bella feeling adrift. Inside, it all welled up, akin to Jessica's biting statement, "I don't want your pity." Yet her friend never indicated how they might ease her position. Within Bella festered a pervasive sense of impotency and inadequacy. Pacing only amplified Charlie's own worries, all this while his partner was out there facing an uncertain and perilous situation. For a month, Harry stayed home, overwhelmed by the disaster at the hospital. Harry, often with flour-dusted hands and oversized sweaters, was now in Phoenix combating a vampire. He was the same Harry who referred to Bella as our daughter. He promised he'd return. Charlie would mention at dinner, night after night, never noting Edward's untouched plate. "I believe it." Bella sought solace in Edward's embrace. In the tenderness of his whispers and the gentle phone calls, she found a flicker of hope. Meanwhile, Alice and Jasper remained restricted by daylight, but Harry was out there in Arizona, adorned with a disguise, singing to the dessert and serenading the moon. "They discovered James at your old ballet school," Edward shared. When Charlie entered, he repeated, "The studio's damaged, but you're safe now, Bella." Edward's eyes betrayed the truth behind Charlie's burning question. "Where's Harry?" Edward hesitated. "We don't know." The sound of cracking, the noise of someone attempting to hijack Bella's truck, interrupted them. Edward fell. Bella, however, was quick to follow Charlie. At the perimeter, Harry stood, sleeves in tatters and his arm bleeding. Bella's heart was heavy with concern as she watched Charlie aid him into the house. Edward was occupied on the phone, indifferent to Harry's injured arm. Settling Harry on the sofa, Charlie fetched the first aid kit. "Edward," Harry called out sharply. Edward paused. "I was contacting Carlisle." "It's too late for that," Harry said, extending his wounded arm to the light, revealing the undeniable mark of a vampire's bite. Bella instinctively reached for Harry, offering comfort in her embrace, though she couldn't muster the faith to utter reassuring words. "Edward," Harry repeated, feverish, "guard Bella as if her life depends on it. And watch over Charlie. Take care of my Charlie." Edward nodded. "Yes, sir." Just as Charlie returned with the medical supplies, Harry shifted, an apology on his lips. "Edward's taking me." "I'm sorry," he admitted. Bella held Charlie as Edward supported Harry. "What's happening?" Charlie's voice was one Bella never wished to hear again, laden with despair. "Let's go, Dad," Bella urged. It was just vampirism, after all, not an apocalypse. Harry, with his unique spirit, would be fine. She led Charlie resolutely. "We're heading to Billy's for the night." Alice sat by Harry during his restless moments on the couch. "His thoughts are audible," said Edward, incoherent Latin and screams. "I'm here, Harry," Alice comforted, yearning for clarity. She sought foresight, but murky visions teased her with images of Harry's intense, verdant eyes, making it hard to concentrate on anything else. The following day, Bella and Charlie visited with Billy Black and Samuel. Together, they watched Harry evolve into something unhuman. "This breaches our treaty," Billy stated. "Explain," demanded Charlie, though hesitant to touch his partner. With Carlisle working and others hunting, Alice's gaze met Edward's, silently agreeing to summon them back, yet her visions revealed nothing. "They're vampires," Bella declared, taking the weight of the secret. Edward cringed. Jasper's calming effect fluttered. Charlie sighed, sitting next to Bella. "I thought Harry was joking," he remarked. "A metaphor, perhaps." "Harry was a decent man," Billy Black declared. "We'll hold accountable the responsible party, Cullen. Justice will be served." "He's still decent," retorted Bella. "Being a vampire is an opportunity." Edward groaned softly. Alice alone heard. "We're not here for trivialities," growled Samuel. As clouds parted, sunlight touched the house's interior, prompting Jasper to retreat to the shadows. "All right," Charlie conceded, acknowledging Jasper's presence. "Harry said you don't harm humans." "We survive on animal blood," Edward clarified, turning to address the Quilutes. "A nomad," pursued Bella. "Harry destroyed James but was bitten." "Which fool let a human confront a vampire?" "Enough, Yulie," Billy interjected. "Harry was an ally." "Harry's idea," advocated Bella, leaning closer to her father. "He did it for me." "Fine," Charlie conceded, placing his hand on Harry's pulse, still detectable. "How long till he wakes?" "A day at most," Jasper answered from his spot. Alice, though blind, beamed fondly at him. "He may be erratic, Chief Swan. Initially, we need Harry close until it's safe." "Understood," Charlie murmured, resuming his vigil by Harry's side, holding Bella with one hand, Harry with the other. "We Swans need some privacy." Alice watched the departing Quilutes before joining Jasper, a barrier of Edward's music separating them. Yet it failed to mask the dialogue below. "You desire this life," Charlie guessed. "I love Edward," Bella replied, her tone steady, words deliberate. "We could be something extraordinary, a beauty like you and Harry. Forgive me, Dad. Deception or parting was never my aim." "All right," was his simple answer as they settled into an unprecedented future. "I care deeply for you, Bella." "I care deeply for you as well, Dad." Alice was attuned to the rhythmic thumping of Harry's heart, aware that it was ticking down its final myriad beats as if marking time.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with more audiobooks. Happy listening!